Let's see if it says failed or not. It looks like we're going.
I believe we are.
It's glitching. And we're live. Congratulations. We are now officially live. It's going to take a few seconds for the YouTube end to see that we're live. So it will take a second for that. But I will celebrate that as a victory, and we'll just see if it keeps going. So this is Sunday night's Bible study, and it took a lot to get here. And we've not been on the stream for what, 2-3 weeks?
This is the third week, so we were absent 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolute death. So do any of us remember what happened in John chapter 11, which was the previous chapter?
I do. It appears that Lazarus was risen from the dead. And by remembers, I mean I just read it again.
Oh, well, congratulations. Okay, yes, so the YouTube end is now saying that we're live. If I can keep it muted, I'll be able to look at the chat while this is going.
Yeah, and then also what happened towards the end of chapter 11 is that Jesus stopped walking openly among the Jews and went into a country near the wilderness.
Oh yeah, you just totally didn't just read that right off.
No, I did not. I pulled that out of my memory bank.
Do you guys always go from left to right when you're pulling stuff out of your memory?
Yeah, it's just how I think, dude. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it does not look like we have any viewers at the moment, which is completely fine. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so people are probably going to see this post-production, and they're going to be like, oh crap, we missed the show, all that whatnot. But shame on you for not knowing this was going to be here, because I did mention it a few days ago. So, take that. So Lazarus rises from the dead. Everybody's shocked because now they know that Jesus has the power over life and death. And we get to chapter 12. Cory, can you take this one for me?
Yes. Chapter 12. Verse 1. Then Jesus 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him. Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and had the bag and bare what was put therein. What does that mean? He was about to steal it?
So Judas is a thief. He has the bag.
Yeah.
He has the purse, if you will, the wallet. He is the treasurer. He takes care of the money.
Oh, okay.
And so he's like, why couldn't this be donated to our group where we would have the money, where we would have the resources, and then I could use them, I could take them.
Okay. Verse 7. Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying hath she kept this. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. Much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there, and they came not for Jesus' sake, but that they might see Lazarus also, whom he had raised from the dead.
So I want to mention something right here. So Jesus knows what Judas is trying to do here, but he does not address what Judas is trying to do here. He addresses something that's more universal. So instead of saying, don't bother with her because you're just going to be a thief, he actually answers the question that Judas posed, which is, why don't we give this money to the poor? And Jesus answers with, the poor you'll have always, but me you will not. And that isn't just alluding to his death, but what it's talking about is what's more important in life. There's a lot of people who make their entire ministry taking care of the homeless and the poor. And that's not bad. But what you got to remember is the poor will always be here. Your relationship with Jesus may not. You will die. And how much you help the poor isn't going to account for much at the end. It's going to be about if you believed in Jesus. And so these poor people, they'll be poor for the rest of their life, depending on who they are, obviously. I mean, each individual has their own story. But there will be poor for the rest of forever. However, these poor people can get saved and have a relationship with Christ. So he calls out right here with Judas, which ministry is more important? A ministry to Christ is more important than a ministry to the poor. It's not wrong to help the poor, but if you don't tell them about Christ, it's nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Go on.
I think we're in verse 9. All right. Much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there. And they came not for oh no, we did read this, but I'll finish it. And they came not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also, whom he had raised from the dead.
What's the real feeling? Could you imagine you're sitting next to your, brother or cousin or whoever in your family is important to you, and they were dead just yesterday, and now they're
just
sitting
next to you,
just chilling as if everything's normal.
Yeah, that would be bizarre.
I'd just constantly be standing like, are they gonna drop dead again? Are they gonna,
All right, verse 10. But the chief priests consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death. They're gonna kill him again? Dude.
Wait. Did I miss something? Why are they trying to kill Lazarus? What do you think?
They just don't like that he's alive, I guess. That's funny.
Did the chief priests kill him? Did they have him killed?
I don't know.
I mean, he died of a sickness. But
right.
I was wondering, why are they so adamant about killing him?
They just want him dead. I guess it's they probably thought it was. Yeah, maybe it says right here. Because that by reason, huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because that by reason of him, many of the Jews went away and believed on Jesus.
Okay, so yeah, as I was about to say, it's a testimony. He was walking proof that Jesus had power over life and death.
Right.
So something I want to point out is earlier in our studies, I want to say around chapter 6, Nicodemus comes out and says, "Hey, we know that you are of God." Those exact words. So the thing is, the Pharisees, not just Nicodemus, they all knew that he was of God. They didn't want to accept him anyways, regardless. See, the thing is, they weren't just deceiving themselves. They knew full well that he was of God. So when you come over here and you see, hey, Nicodemus was risen, they wanted to put him back to death, not because it was a demon possessed or this or that. It was because Jesus was gathering more followers, and they did not want Jesus to take their power away. It's almost like if a gang controls this one area and this other guy starts to gain popularity, they want to kill that other guy. Not because he's doing anything wrong or bad, but because he's taking their potential power. They're afraid that he might overthrow them one day as the religious leader. As far as like Jesus goes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. On the next day, much people that were come to the feast, when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him, and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel, that cometh in the name of the Lord.
So they realize he has had power over life and death, and they've declared him king, which is going to make the Pharisees really mad, and is going to, mess all this up. And we'll see for a moment what Jesus has to do in response to all this. But yeah, just go ahead. I don't want to interrupt too much.
And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it is written, Fear not, daughter of Sion. Behold, thy king cometh, sitting on an ass's colt. Is a colt a saddle? What is that? Colt.
Wait, did you say sitting on a what?
Sitting on an ass's colt. I assume ass means a donkey or a mule.
Yes.
But what's a
Um,
colt? His back?
um, I remember it being like a baby donkey. So like an ass's colt would be a donkey's child.
A young donkey that Jesus rode into Jerusalem.
Yep,
Okay,
bingo.
good job. So a colt is just a young donkey?
Yeah, so an ass's colt is like the donkey of a mother. I don't know why they'd go through the extra length. Okay. Maybe
Okay,
colt means something else.
maybe, I don't know. These things understood not his disciples at the first, but when Jesus was glorified, then remembered that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. The people therefore that was with him when he called Lazarus out of his grave and raised him from the dead bear record. For this cause the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing? Behold, the world is gone after him. Perceive ye how ye
Where are
prevail
you?
nothing? 19.
The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him. So they're saying, we've done nothing. All our work's been in vain. Everybody's following him. They're declaring him king. We're about to lose.
Hmm.
The world is getting saved by Jesus.
Heaven forbid that.
Oh no, yeah, so horrible.
All right, verse 20 then. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Jesus. Philip
So
cometh, and
now the Greeks are coming into this. The Greeks aren't the Jews. They're not the,
they're the
the
Romans, right?
no, the Greeks.
Oh
Come
yeah, I
from,
guess that makes sense.
or I think it's Greece. Um,
Oh wow.
they're not Romans, but they're not Jews, is the point. They're the Gentiles, if you will. They're
Okay.
the unclean. A lot of the Jews had this idea that only the Jews could be saved, only the Jews, God's children. And here the Greeks are coming up to worship Jesus. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and again Andrew and Philip tell Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, the hour is come, the Son of Man should be glorified. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone, but if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit.
Hold on, hold on. So, and Jesus answered. So, what was the question? Philip cometh and tell Andrew, and again, Andrew and Philip tell Jesus. Tell Jesus what? So the Greeks are coming. They're telling him, and end up telling Jesus about the Greeks. And Jesus answered and said, "If corn falls on the ground, it's alone. But if the corn dies, those seeds plant a lot of corn, and they rise back up." Interesting. Let's continue. Maybe the answer will be here.
He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto the eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour.
Okay. So he's talking about his death again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, if you love your life, if you try to hold on to your life, you will lose your life. Obviously, death comes to us all at one point or another. That's not what he's talking about. But to those who fight to hold on to their life, they end up losing it. But those who give up their life, they have eternal riches in heaven and all this other stuff. And so as you see Jesus here, he's painting this picture of if the corn hits the ground and dies, the seeds scatter and grows a forest of corn. He's painting a picture of if I die, this movement will stay on, it will grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then he's saying also, this could only happen because I'm willing to give up my life. To those who love their life, they will lose it. You're going to die anyways, and you're going to spend all your time trying to hold on to your life. But to those who hate their life and give it to God, that's the important thing. It doesn't just say hate your life. It says, give it to God. Those people shall gain it. Because they're going to leave this legacy and all this other stuff that happens. Go ahead. What verse are we on?
28. Father, glorify thy name. Then come there a voice from heaven, saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people, therefore, that stood by and heard it, said that it thundered, and others said, an angel spake to him. Jesus answered and said, This voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This he said, signifying what death he should die. The people answered him, We have heard out of the law that Christ abideth forever. And how sayest thou, the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man?
So that's interesting. So he, in verse 32, you can kind of tell what he's thinking. As they are worshiping, as they are praising it, he is still thinking about his death. And he says, being lifted up from the earth, I will draw all men to me. Again, that corn analogy where he's talking about when he dies, the following will come up. He's saying being lifted up from the earth. On a cross, you get lifted up from the earth. You've risen up into the air. Being lifted up from the earth will draw all men unto me. So he's telling him right now, I'm not going to just be killed. I'm going to be crucified. This is the first time you hear Jesus talk about which way he dies.
Mm.
You got to remember, being crucified was like the worst way to go. Not only was it just painful, but it meant that you were one of the worst people on the planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wasn't just, we don't like you anymore, let's get rid of you. It was, you are the worst murdering, person on the planet. So you had to do a lot to get there. Continue.
35. Then Jesus said unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in the darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light. These things spake Jesus, and departed, and did hide himself from them. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. But the saying
Isn't
of...
that crazy?
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. It really
you
is.
think about it, he raised people from the dead, and you don't believe him. Dude, if there's a person who rose somebody from the dead, I would at least give them the time of day to figure out what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
At least.
At least give him the time of day. A lot of these people weren't even giving him that. Instead, they sought to kill him. Go ahead.
38. That the saying of Esaias the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spake, Lord, who hath believed our report? And to whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed? Therefore they could not believe, because that Esaias said again, He hath blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Esaias when he saw his glory and spake of him. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him. But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue. For they love the praise of men more than the praise of God.
Yeah, they were afraid to lose their power.
It sounds like it. Jesus cried and said, He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me shall not abide in darkness. And if any man hear my words, and believeth not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejecteth me, and receiveth not my words, hath one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment, what I should say, and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak. So he's basically just reiterating that he's sort of just coming down and acting out God's plan.
I kind of feel like he's like having a final address.
Almost seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, because he knows what's going to happen very shortly after this. He's sitting down. He's like, I'm not going to have much more time here. Because you got to remember, he's constantly avoiding the feast. He's constantly avoiding these crowds because they were seeking to kill him the entire time. He was constantly avoiding. Now he's not. 6 days before the feast, he is drawing a crowd. He is drawing attention. They are declaring him king. He is putting a huge target on his back. He knows he does not have much time anymore, and he is not hiding. And this kind of feels like his farewell address. And what's the number one thing he says? Stay in my word, and you will be in light. He said it over and over. He preaches the gospel one more time. He just says, listen to the word. These words that I speak are straight from God. Listen to the word, and you will be saved, is the gist of all of this. Seems like with every breath, like anytime he gets the chance, anybody comes to him, this is what he says. This is what he tells them. And honestly, it's the best advice. I was watching a reel earlier, and it was hilarious. It said, I'm really depressed and down. How do I hear God's word? He said, read the Bible. It's like, no. How do I hear his word out loud, like verbally? And they said, read the Bible out loud. And I was like, that is so genius. People discredit the Bible, and they want like a very personal, the thing. And I'm like, dude, he wrote this huge love letter to you. The least you can do is pick it up. I wouldn't be chasing after God's personal word until I've read and studied every single square inch of the Bible over and like fully understand it. At that point, if you've truly run out of content, then sure, listen for God's word directly. But until then, you have no excuse. And I'm not saying people can't hear God's word verbally. I'm just saying, it's not for everybody. He gave them the word to be able to discern. This is what he gave us. Our God is not a God of doubt and confusion. A lot of people who hear God's word, they have doubt and confusion. Okay, so that was chapter 12. We want to do chapter 13.
What do you think? I know you said you're not feeling so great.
No, I'm not at all. I'm currently keeling over. The chair's the only thing keeping me up at the moment.
Okay, well, maybe we'll call it and pick it up next week then. That's fine with me.
Oh, no, I'm intrigued, though. I mean, you can't get tired of the Bible.
Fair.
Yeah. And you've been reading it, so as long as you can keep reading, I can just...
Yeah, let's do it. I just skimmed through. It's only 38 verses, so yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, chapter 13. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, which is a long-winded way of saying he's going to die.
He knows he's going to die, yeah.
Having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from God and went to God, he riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. And after that he poureth water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? And Jesus answered and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not now. What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. What's the parable there? What's he saying?
Okay, where are you?
8.
Verse 8.
Peter's saying you shouldn't ever be washing my feet. And Jesus says, if I don't wash you, then you won't have a part of me. You hast no part with me.
I've never actually thought about that in great detail, but it whacked me like it hit me recently. Wow. Okay, hold on. So how do you get saved? Jesus cleanses you with the blood from the cross, correct?
Correct.
So Jesus is washing his disciples' feet. And he says, don't wash my feet. And he says, if I don't do this, you can't have a part of me. If you don't get saved, if you don't get washed with the blood of Christ, you cannot have a part of him. He's doing this physical action of showing them how he's being a servant to them, how he's washing their feet. And he sees it as a servant's job, because remember, the servant's job was to wash the feet. And he's like, you're my master, don't wash my feet. And Jesus says, forget about the whole master, servant thing. If I don't cleanse you, you cannot have anything to do with me. You will be dirty. You need to be clean. You need to be clean to be a part. And I'm the only person who can clean you. Listen to the response that Peter has.
Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.
That was Peter for you. He does polar opposite. He's like, okay, if this is how I get a part of hanging out with you, then everything.
Jesus saith to him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, Ye are not all clean.
So see, the thing is, Jesus saying, Peter, you're clean. I think he's referring at this point, well, I know he's referring to this point of salvation. And he says, you're clean, Peter. Don't worry about it. Okay? You will have a part, of heaven. But then he says, but not all of you are clean. Not all of you are saved. Because he knew that somebody was going to betray him. Continue.
So after he had washed their feet, and had taken his garments, and was set down again, he said unto them, Know ye what I have done to you? Ye call me Master and Lord, and ye say, Well, for so I am, rather. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that ye should do as I have done to you. So is he saying, if by washing his feet, he sort of means he's saving them, making them clean? Is he saying you all should go out and save others?
Well, that's a very good point to make. I don't think that's quite what he's getting at here. I think he's more or less approaching the servant attitude here. Now, I'm not the ruler of correction or standard here. This is my gift as anybody else's. But what I'm seeing here is he comes back into the servant attitude and says, if your master, if the top ranking guy among our group does the lowest position, the lowest, dirtiest work, then surely you can do it with other people. What he's getting at is he's saying high rank does servant work, then you guys who aren't as high rank should also do servant work to others. It's
a lesson of humbleness.
Humbleness, willingness, and attitude towards serving others, and it's also a great testimony. If a Christian steps up and is a great worker, has a servant's heart, it's going to stand out. People are going to notice. And then they're going to ask, why is it this way? Why do you do this? And I mean, even earlier on, he says, if a Roman demands that you carry, his, backpack or whatever it was for a mile, which was the legal limit where they could demand you to do, offer to carry it another. It wasn't just that the Romans needed help. We could care less about the Romans as far as government and a military. It was that the individual could be ministered to by your servitude.
Right.
Continue.
Truly, truly, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them. I speak not of you all, I know whom I have chosen, but that the scripture may be fulfilled. He that eateth bread with me hath lifted up his heel against me. Now I tell you before it come, that, when it is come to pass, ye may believe that I am he. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that receiveth whomsoever I send receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. When Jesus had thus said, he was troubled in spirit, and testified, and said, Truly, truly, I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. Then the disciples looked one on another, doubting of whom he spake. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. Is that the right word? I thought bosom had two S's.
I don't know how it's spelled. I'm dyslexic.
I'm Googling it. A woman's chest. Okay.
That may be what it means now, but not back then.
Yeah.
Maybe bosom with two S's means woman's chest, and a bosom with one S means man chest. Who knows?
Oh, here we go. What does intimacy mean in the Bible? It is used to describe. What does bosom mean in the Bible? Sorry. It is used to describe intimacy, affection, and closeness. That makes a little bit more sense.
You got to remember, if he's leaning up against his bosom, he's leaning up against his chest. He could have just said, one of the disciples who was laying on his chest.
Brian, I'm sorry.
I got.
didn't mean to get upset
Shut
with
up!
you.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Sorry, but I got text on my phone and it reads it out loud. I don't know what's coming in, so I need to just mute those things whenever they do come in. Normally I have my phone on silent, but as I was saying, what was I saying? I totally lost train of thought.
Yeah, you were just talking about why would he just say that he was leaned upon Jesus' chest?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Okay, that makes so much more sense. Okay, so you got to remember, if he's leaning up against his chest, he could have said just he's leaning up against his chest, but it doesn't share that they were close, that they were intimate. Okay, and so by saying, "Hey, his disciple was leaning on his chest," it means that they loved each other. They were close to each other. You know, in today's society, any form of physical touch or any kind of bromance, everybody calls you gay. But
Right.
back then, that was not the case. Men were allowed to be close to each other. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So to all those who were like, Judas kissed Jesus, that's gay. First, it wasn't on the lips. Second, different cultures altogether, not gay.
Yeah, they still
Third,
kiss each other.
sinless. So obviously, no, couldn't happen. Okay, so then like this one, oh, he's leaning up on his chest. People like to accuse Jesus of being gay. It's like different culture, dude. Nothing wrong here. Nobody was doing anything wrong. You had some friends who were really close to each other. They've been through a lot. They've worked together. I mean, I'd be hugging Jesus if he was over here. I'd totally be doing that. So, I mean, why not?
Seems pretty reasonable to me as well. All right, verse 24. Simon Peter therefore beckoned to him that he should ask who it should be of whom he spake. So he's asking who's going to betray him. He then, lying on Jesus' breast, saith unto him, Lord, who is it? Jesus answered, He it is to whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it. A sop when I have dipped it. What is a sop, sir? I'll be Googling that.
It was a morsel of food. I know that much.
Sop in the Bible. A piece of bread that is dipped into a dish of broth or sauce. Wow. Okay.
I eat sop all the time, I guess.
I guess I do too. To whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it. And when he had dipped the sop, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. They always say that he's the son of Simon every time he's mentioned.
Oh, because there were two Judases. And they want to be very clear who the bad guy is.
Okay. That makes sense. And
no, I will say in modern day, Judas is just known as the bad one. Like, everybody forgets that there was the other one.
Yeah. And after the sop, Satan entered into him. Then said Jesus unto him, That thou doest, do quickly. Now no man at the
possessed. Jesus then says to him, what you're gonna do quickly.
Did Jesus possess him with the sop? What is that?
No, Jesus did not possess him. It says that after Jesus gave him the sop, the devil possessed him. It went into him. And then he says, because he knows the devil dispossessed him, he says, what you're going to do quickly.
Now no man at the table knew for what intent he spake this unto him. For some of them thought, because Judas had the bag, that Jesus had said unto him, Buy those things that we have need of against the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. He then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was night. Therefore, when he was gone out, Jesus said, Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God be glorified in him, God shall also glorify him in himself, and shall straightway glorify him. Little children, yet a little while I am with you. Ye shall seek me, and as I said unto the Jews, Whither I go, you cannot come. So now I say to you, A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another.
Man, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We all say we should lead by example, but on his last day as a free man, he says, follow my example. See, if I was dying, and I was on a deathbed, so I knew it was going to be like my last day, I don't think the first thing I'd say is follow my example.
Yeah, and then before that, you probably wouldn't wash everyone's feet, including the person who's about to have you killed.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Oh yeah, that's you. I never thought of that. Whoa, this is bad. He washed all of their feet.
All of them,
That's
dude.
actually whoa. You're right there. But yeah, he says, "This is my new commandment to you: love others as I have loved you." It's the number one message he wants to leave with them: love, and not some kind of shallow love, but just true, honest love. The Bible also says, if you love him, you'll obey his commandments. If you love your father, you'll try to make him proud. Just makes sense.
It does make sense, yeah.
If you love your neighbor, you're going to try to tell them about everlasting life. I mean, if you had the cure to cancer and your neighbor has, cancer, how much would you have to hate them to not tell them about the cure and watch them die?
Right.
I'm not even talking about how much you'd love them to bless them with this information. I'm saying how much would you have to hate them? Because even like someone you didn't like, you'd still, hopefully hand them, the information that they need.
All right.
Moving forward.
35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, whither goest thou? So we're asking, where are you going?
Yeah,
Jesus,
where are you going?
Where are you going? Jesus answered him, Where I go, thou cannot follow me now, but thou shalt follow me afterwards. So heaven, sounds like.
Yeah.
Peter said unto him, Lord, why can I not follow thee now? I will lay down my life for thy sake. Jesus answered him, Wilt thou lay down thy life for my sake? Truly, truly, I say unto thee, the cock shall not crow till thou hast denied me thrice.
3 times.
The cock
The
shall
rooster
not crow.
will not crow until you have denied me 3 times. That's crazy.
What does the rooster
So-
have to do in this context?
So the rooster is a bird that crows early in the morning.
Right.
So if this is late at night as they're having the feast, he's saying tonight, before the morning, you're going to deny me 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving it time.
Well, yeah. And well, Peter basically just said, I'll lay down my life for my sake, for your sake. And Jesus immediately says, well, you're actually about to deny me 3 times.
So, yeah. Now, if I'm correct, Peter does end up laying his life down for Christ's sake later, but just not at this moment.
Hmm.
Yeah. So he's talking to his to his family pretty much, and he's I think he even asks, will you guys lay down your life? Simon said, okay, where goes thou? Jesus answered and said, I'm going away. You can't follow me. Peter said unto him, Lord, why can't I follow you? I will lay down my life for your sake. Okay, so he says, I'll lay down my life so I can follow you, and all that whatnot. Jesus then says, yeah, but you're going to deny me 3 times. So maybe in one of the other versions, it says, and I'm forgetting here at the moment, but they say, you'll all deny me. And Peter says, surely not, Lord. But yeah, what we're getting here is a chicken that's about ready to roast Peter come here in a few hours.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you have seen those memes, the chicken on his way to roast Peter, and how mean it is. It's why Baptists love eating fried chicken so much. We're trying to get that that rooster. Anyway, so you can see we've got down to pretty much the finale of John. How many chapters are in John? We just finished John chapter 13. In John, the book of John, we have. Why is it? No, that's not
21, it looks like.
21 chapters?
Yeah.
So we're in the second half for sure. Book of John, right here.
Yeah, we are. So that was happening late at night, and he said, the cock shall not crow till you have denied me thrice. So that means that by morning, you will have denied him. Right?
Yeah, before the sunrise, because roosters crow really
Before the
early.
sunrise, yeah.
So what I'm finding is, what did you say, 21?
Yeah.
21, yeah, and we're going to be reading 14 next time. So yeah, we finished about 2/3, I'd say, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is going to be the final stretch of John. What we're seeing here is he's no longer in hiding. He's no longer avoiding. He knows it's his time that's coming up. He does not fight. He does not try to resist, and they will be able to catch him. And it sucks, but it has to be done. I mean, it's the only way that we can have a part of Jesus. And he even says to those who try to deny, he says, Peter, if you don't let me wash your feet, you can't have anything to do with me at all. And the feet were the grossest part back in the day because people didn't wear shoes. And you just get dirt and dust and everything on your feet all the time. And so he's cleaning out the worst parts. And our sin is the worst parts of us. He says, if you don't let me clean this out, you can't have a part of me. He's giving a very tangible picture of what it looks like. So those who say, Lord, surely there's another way, not if you want to be a part of them. Anyway.
Those were good 2 chapters. I like those.
Let's look at the chat. Dustin's in the chat now. Hi, Dustin. A lot of messages redacted or retracted. What's happening to Dustin? I don't know. Okay. Ryan's in the chat. Ryan is commenting a lot. Thank you, Ryan. We keep the show running this way. Tim, how you doing? We have Dustin in here. Dustin is either retracting a lot of messages or somebody's retracting them for him. Dustin, what's up? Why are you hiding from us?
Mhm.
Let me see. Anything else? Looks like there's no questions. I've skimmed our entire chat. We've not had a too active of a night. And Dustin has come up with a new term called brotato chip. Interesting. You ever heard that before? Brotato chip?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think I've ever heard of brotato chip. Okay. Well, that's it. I'm going to hit the end button right now. We were on chapter 13. We have completed chapter 13. See you next time for chapter 14. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. We ended it.